There are several videos out there about what not to do when you're buying a home. I know our local realtors do an incredible job of educating their buyers on the things to avoid. However, some may ask, why should I really avoid those things? Let's discuss. Today we're going to talk about 3 things that a home buyer should not do during the home buying experience, and we're going to talk about why. Now, real important, when I say home buying experience, I do not mean just from the time you go under contract to closing. I mean from the day you seriously start to look at buying a home until after closing, you would want to avoid these things. Number 1, avoid any job changes. And that doesn't just mean changing companies. This would mean going from being a salaried employee to a commissioned employee, or from a salaried employee to an hourly employee, even if you're making more income. It could also mean staying in the same field, but going from being a W-2 employee to being a self-employed or contract worker. You will want to avoid any job changes without talking with a lender first. Now, why is that so important? Well, believe it or not, your lender is going to want you to pay that mortgage back. Shocking, right? And to do that, they're going to make sure that you have what's called stable income, meaning that they have a really good idea of what you're going to be making each month. Job changes like that can trigger a re-underwrite, and if your income is viewed as unstable, it could kill the deal. So talk with a lender before you do any job changes. Number 2, avoid any large deposits. And the way I typically put this is any non-payroll deposits. And we get a lot of questions on this because most people feel that the more money they have in the bank, the better they would look. And they wouldn't be wrong. However, large deposits will trigger questions. Now, why is that? So the lender has to make sure you have not incurred any new debt during the whole process. So let's say you were to go out and take out a $10,000 loan, which, by the way, you can't do that for down payment or closing costs, so it doesn't do you any good. But you were to do that, it's not going to show up on your credit for 30 to 45 days. However, when the lender sees the deposit, it's their trigger to ask where it came from. And since one of the things that lender look at to qualify you is debt ratio, meaning what you make versus what you owe, a higher debt ratio means a lower purchasability. Again, talk with the lender before you make any large deposits. Number 3, avoid having your credit ran. Now, this kind of ties into number 2 in that if you open any new credit, it will affect your debt ratio, and that will affect what you qualify for. And look, I get it. When you're pre-approved and you find a home you love, it's exciting and you want to start filling it up with things, it's only natural. However, you would be best served to wait until after closing. Also, something we see from time to time is some creditors offer a no payment for 12 months, and buyers think this is acceptable because you won't start paying until after you close. Unfortunately, it's not okay, and that's because it's still debt. It's still going to affect you, so again, talk with the lender. Now, I said had your credit ran, meaning that even if you don't open any new credit, a credit inquiry will show up from the lender, who they have to monitor your credit until the day of closing, and they have to document any inquiry. So while it may not kill the deal, it could delay your closing. So again, avoid it at all costs. Now, one thing you do not want to avoid is reaching out to me with any questions, and it's real easy to do. Visit my website, reach out to me. I'm always happy to help. Thanks for watching Your Mortgage Minute.